right, greetings all, and welcome to Living Once Twice, the YouTube edition. My name is Justin. For those of you not familiar with me, I am a content creator, wellness advocate, personal adventure junkie, and host of the Living Once Twice podcast, which is a lifestyle design podcast all about helping us to use the stories of inspiring guests, science, and various strategies to build momentum towards designing a life that we're all passionate about living. So, if you are familiar with the show, or if you're not, I shoot the show in seasons. So, I typically have a fall season going from September to November and a winter season from January to March. But one of the things I thought would be really fun to do is kind of build a bridge to the gap in between the seasons by from time to time dropping some YouTube videos, and these short YouTube videos will all be built around one of my favorite segments from the show, which is our Each One Teach One segment, in which our guests answer rapid fire questions to provide more insight into the books that they enjoy reading or different habits and strategies that they found impactful. So I'm going to use these videos to really just dive deeper into a lot of those topics, all of which I hope helps us collectively in our journey to rewriting narratives, reinventing ourselves, and reimagining our lives. So I just thank you for tuning into this. And before we dive into this episode, this first episode, I do want to encourage you to subscribe if you haven't. Also, follow us on Instagram at Living Once Twice, and be sure to check out the Living Once Twice website at www.livingoncetwice.com, where you can get more content updates. Now, for this first video, I'm going to take it all the way back to episode 1, Climbing the Wrong Ladder, in which I provide more context about my own personal backstory and my search for meaning after I realized that climbing that corporate ladder, that 9 to 5 ladder, chasing titles, chasing money, it was not as fulfilling as I originally thought, or the result of what I thought I was going to obtain was not there when I arrived, or I got to experience some of that. So it really served as the launch pad for this journey that I've been on of self-discovery, of lifestyle design. And there was one book in particular that I talk about on that episode, which was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, in which that book really opened up my eyes about lifestyle design and a lot of concepts that I've referenced several times throughout different seasons. And I found so much valuable insight from that book. So I'm going to share in this episode, this video, 3 key takeaways from that book that you may find very useful in your own journey. And if you're not familiar with the book, I just want to give you a little bit of context. But the book is all about us moving forward in our lives with a really principle-centered approach to our life, first, both with our personal and our interpersonal effectiveness. So rather it focusing on us, our outward manifestation, the book really leans on the importance of developing our inner self, our inner core, and really strengthening that, because that's where change all is rooted in. And in developing and honing in on integrity to ourselves, whether it be through our habits, whether it be through our vision for ourselves, and then really living in alignment with that. And once again, once we have that in tune, oh, there's so much change on the outside that we can manifest from that, which I really do believe in, change being from the inside out. So, starting with lesson number 1 from the book that I want to offer, it's the concept of writing your own script. And just want to read something here from Dr. Covey, but he talks about how we all have this internal monitor or consciousness that gives us an awareness of our own uniqueness. However, what happens in our world is we get pulled away from that, our own uniqueness, whether it be from schooling, whether it be from the outside imprints from family, from parents, how we were raised, the environment we were around. We tend to tune that inner awareness out, and we begin to take on society's definition of happiness, society's definition of joy. And Stephen Covey talks about how we've got to break from that. We've got to understand that we are the programmer. We could break away from that programming that was given to us, or that script that was given to us by society, by our family, by our friends, whatever it might be, and we get to write our own script. And I love how he talks about how we have to answer for our own lives. And when we pay attention to what lives inside of us, I mean, there's so much design that we can create from there. So we do have to ask ourselves, like, what do we want to do? What do we want to be in life? And that's when we get into deeper meaning of what it means to design our own scripts. And this is really a concept that forces us to deeply think about, once again, what do we want, and our actions, our behaviors, our thoughts, our lifestyle, is it incongruent with those beliefs? This was impactful for me because, as I talked about, I realized the current script that I was living from, it wasn't fulfilling to me. What I was equating success to was not truly rooted in my own internal definition for it from it. And so that allowed me to shift my way of thinking as I came upon this concept and say, okay, I don't like this definition of joy, of success. I get to now rewrite it for myself. And there's a great deal of power and freedom that comes from that when we give ourselves permission to once again define these concepts. So that's takeaway number one that I want to offer. The next takeaway that I want to offer is the process of visualization. And he gives a very powerful example of imagining your own funeral, thinking about 3 years from now, you're at your own funeral, and this is a part of the concept of beginning with the end in mind. And I actually incorporate this activity into the free Dream Life workbook that I've designed, where you can actually download it on the Instagram page. And when you take on this concept of beginning with the end in mind, what's really powerful about it, even though it's morbid to think about death in your own funeral, it really allows us, as we think about our own mortality, it really allows us to clarify, well, what is important to us. And that helps us to develop a stronger, clearer vision for our lives. What do we value? What's the desired direction that we want to go? And I think this is a great tool. And it's a great tool that I have used and come to very regularly as I go about my day, because I don't know, and none of us know, I don't know if I'm a old 35 or a young 35 in terms of what the universe has in store for me. So it's important to think about, am I living intentionally, or am I living in a way that, once again, is in integrity with what I value? And it kind of can help me to recenter myself whenever I feel kind of out of bounds. This activity too of thinking about and beginning with the end in mind, or visualizing your own funeral, also allows, I think, us to clarify what roles are important in our lives, because society can put these roles on you, going back to that concept of script. But when you think about at the end of who is attending your funeral, or what do you want them to say about you, is it that you were a hard worker, or are there other roles in life that you hope are embodied, that you embody, that folks will really speak highly to yourself? And it really allowed me to clarify that if I was to boil down my life to 5 roles that I would like to fulfill or like to have lived out, it's being a servant, being a creator, being a wellness advocate, a personal adventure junkie, and last but not least, but being growth minded. And I think of those roles because no matter where you put me in the world, those are roles that I can embody anywhere, no matter how much money is in the bank account, no matter, once again, if there's a roof over my head or not, is kind of how I think about that. And so that was one of the byproducts of thinking about, once again, my own funeral, or beginning with the end in mind. And like, it's just a very, very powerful concept that I encourage you, if you're looking just for some clarity and you feel a little bit off centered, that is a role that can help you to define values, define your goals, and what's important in your areas of life, to make sure you're living aligned to that. And then the final takeaway that I offer, so the number 3 takeaway that I want to offer here that's been very impactful for me, is the concept of interdependence. And I want to read this here because Dr. Covey says, and I love this, that human life is interdependent. We can't combine our talents and abilities. We can combine our talents and abilities and create something greater together. I love the concept of interdependence because we can't do this journey alone. I mean, our essence of us being here, it took two folks coming together, or no matter however you want to cut it. So as I've thought about my own journey of like, yeah, you could do a lot of things by yourself and you could be good at that, but you could be so much greater when you combine your energies with others. And this journey of content creation, or my life in general, has taught me that, taught me the effectiveness of connecting with others. So in realizing that we can only be self-reliant to a point, and that we can accomplish more, we can expand our perspective by connecting with others, there's no greater resource for us to our further development than connecting with other people. However, what Covey also notes is that in order for us to be able to connect and collaborate effectively with others, we still have to be rooted in a groundedness in ourselves. And if we don't have that, then we're not going to be able to really maximize our effectiveness with others. So I say, don't be afraid to ask for help along your journey when it comes to this concept of interdependence. Don't be afraid to lean on others. Don't be afraid to create your own mastermind group of folks that you know can really support you in your journey, or your board of directors, people that you know that you could trust and lean upon, that have your best interest in mind. And I'll be honest, as I get to wrap this video up, this concept of interdependence, of leaning on others, gaining support from community, this video is a byproduct of that, because I was leaning into my own perfectionism and not really wanting to shoot this video because I was like, I'm not ready. I need to script this out. I need to research. I need to do all these things. And I'm a part of a wonderful momentum group with AO, and he said, "Hey, you just got to do it." You know, it was that wonderful tough love and that encouragement from this community to hold me accountable to a goal and a dream that they know that I have for myself, and they want the best for me, and to really kind of provide me with that support to get out of my comfort zone and to create this video, knowing that I'm just going to continue to build from here, and build and capitalize on this momentum as I take this leap. So again, as we work to strengthen ourselves inside, strengthen our own inner integrity when it comes to that concept of interdependence, we strengthen then our ability to partner with others and embrace the power of we. So I tell you once again, this book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which I'll be sure to put in the notes of this video, as well as link to episode 1, Climbing the Wrong Ladder of the podcast, all of that, this book in particular, it's filled with so much valuable and timeless gems of just wisdom. And it was tough for me to provide just 3 takeaways. And I would love to hear if any of you have read the book. Please, in the comments below, share with me what were some of your key takeaways, because that was like I said, very impactful book for me along my journey. So I'd love to hear others share. So that's it for today's first reflection video. Once again, just building that opportunity to dive deeper into one of my favorite concepts of the show, which is the Each One Teach One section, where we're just knowledge sharing, going back and forth. So if you enjoyed this video, please once again be sure to subscribe. Go follow us on Instagram at the Living Once Twice podcast Instagram page. Visit the website www.livingoncetwice.com for more content updates. And as I say on the show, just thanking you all for your presence and tuning in today, and hopefully continuing on in the future, and reaching out to you all through the time, through the space that separates us, to say, remember, your dream life is waiting for you. It's time to go for it. You deserve it. Catch you later on Living Once Twice.